Hi everyone. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the logistics of the lab practical, which is the exam for this course. Okay. So first of all, the lab practical will be held asynchronously throughout next week. That is the week starting February 20th until February 27th. So the lab practical has two parts to it. First is the quote unquote take home portion, and the second is the quote unquote in lab portion. Right? So when these labs were held in person, there would be a part that you did as take home, and that a part that you did in the lab. But for this remote setting, both of these will be obviously done in your home. However, these are fundamentally the different parts of the practical exam, and they will be taken separately in a sense. Okay, so the first part is a written pen on paper theoretical calculation type portion, whereas the second is the hands-on, the more practical part of the exam. Okay, so the basic timeline of the exam is such that on February 20th, the exam will be available to you, and you can work on and submit the practical anytime within a week of that, right? However, first you will have to work on the take-home portion, and then once you submit the take-home portion, you will get 3 hours from that point to work on and submit the in-lab portion. Okay. So on February 20th, an exam version will be assigned to you on Brightspace, and there will be a document which will tell you, based on your exam version, what exactly the unique values for your individual exam. Okay, so you will take this exam version, and you can get started on your take-home portion immediately and work offline for as long as you need to, um, and then finally submit it on Brightspace. But when you submit it, make sure that you have 3 hours to immediately commit to the in-lab portion of the exam, because the clock for your in-lab portion of the exam will start as soon as you submit the take-home portion, right? Now, also, when you submit the take-home portion, what will happen is you will get the necessary values, unique values and circuit networks necessary for you to complete the in-lab portion of the exam. Okay. So like I said, you'll have 3 hours to work on the in-lab portion once you submit the take-home, and then you can submit it again on Brightspace. You can be offline for the duration of the exam, but you only need to get online onto Brightspace to submit the exam. Okay. Um, the hard deadline for having submitted the exam practical documents is February 27th, the Saturday. So just make sure that you leave enough time for yourself to work on the in-lab portion. Don't start like 2 hours or 1 hour before the exam, because you won't get the full 3 hours to work on the in-lab portion. Even though we have allotted 3 hours for you to work on the in-lab portion, it shouldn't take you that long. It's meant to be an hour-long exam, but because there may be issues with internet, or and also the fact that you might have to scan in your document or take pictures and compile stuff, we've given you an extra 2 hours to account for all of that. Okay, so that's the timing logistics. Now we understand that some of you still don't have an 82, or that it's still in transit, or even if you will have the 82 by the time you take the exam, you won't have had enough time to learn how to use the 82 and the breadboard and everything to be able to take an exam on that. So we do have an LT Spice version of the exam lab practical as well. But to determine whether or not you are eligible to take the LT Spice version of the exam, you'll have to fill out a survey. Actually, all of you, everyone in the course should fill out the survey that will tell you if you are, if you must use the 82 version of the exam, or you are, you have the choice to do the LT Spice version. Okay, so if you don't fill out the survey and you don't get the results of the survey that tell you exactly what you need to do, then you don't know what to do, right? So take the survey when you get it in the email. Okay, so the good thing about this exam is that you already have the exam, right? The questions are already available to you. It's in the lab manual document. And for some of you who chose not to get the lab manual document for some reason, it's also available on the course website and on the Brightspace page. Okay, so this is the first part of the exam, which is the take-home portion. And like I said, it's a pen and paper, draw stuff, make calculations, kind of portion of the exam. And the stuff highlighted in pink is what will be given to you and what will be unique to each of your exams, right? So each one of you will have a different version of the exam, and so that version number will dictate what goes into each of these highlighted spaces. And your answers will obviously be different depending on those numbers. Okay, so there's about 5 questions in the take-home portion. And again, you can take as long as you need to work on this, but work on it by yourself. In the second part of the exam is this in-lab portion. And again, this is also available on your lab manual course website, Brightspace, wherever you want to access it. And again, there's some highlighted parts of the question that are missing, which will become available to you as soon as you submit the take-home exam, submit the take-home portion. Okay, so this is the part of the exam where you actually do simulations or build circuits and make measurements and that sort of stuff. And so you'll be noting down your measurements or your simulated values. And there are a few answer question and do calculations kind of questions also. Yeah, so majority will be hands-on kind of tasks. Okay, but besides, as you can see that there's some points allotted to creating the simulation and building the circuit as well. So detailed instructions on what you need to submit to get all of these points will be provided via another PDF that I will make, and it will give you very detailed instructions on what you need to submit for each question. The LT Spice version of the exam is also similar, but with a few key changes that will allow you to do everything on LT Spice. The take-home portion of the exam is exactly the same. There's no change between the 82 version and the LT Spice version. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions regarding the logistics of the exam, the timing and everything, or you have access to the lab practical, go through it and make sure that you have the necessary skills and knowledge and concepts to attempt this exam. If you don't have, if you feel uncomfortable with any part, feel free to talk to me or the other UTs during office hours, or ask questions on Discord. We will not be answering questions directly from the lab practical, obviously, but we can definitely help you with the necessary concepts and skills, so you can tackle those tasks better. Okay, so yeah, good luck for your exam. Thank you for listening to me.